I'm hesitant in making this only because I feel I'm being distracted. So when I'm distracted, I can't focus, obviously. But I wanted to share something because today I felt like I did have a victory, a small win for myself. And this is not something that I normally celebrate. It's not something that I normally put any attention to because I find a way to be negative. I find a way to say, well, it wasn't enough. Even if it was that small victory, even if that part of the day was good, the other part wasn't. Do you remember that part? My mind kind of spirals in that direction of it'll start to point out the parts that weren't that great instead of focusing on the parts that were. Like this morning was very intense for me and last night. But instead of focusing on that, I'm trying to focus on the more positive points of the day, which was later on in the day. And later on in the day, I felt better. Even though now I'm still kind of in a funk, later on in the day, I felt better and I had a personal victory because I got myself out of it. I found a way to get myself out of it, or maybe work distracted me enough to get myself out of it, either or. But I found a way out of it, and my mind won't allow that to be enough. If you've been following me and watching any of my other videos, you can already tell how critical I am on myself. And so with that being said, my mind will always find a way to pick at the negative part, to pick at the part that seemed like a loss and not a win. And I've been trying for a long time to be more positive or to look and focus more at my wins than my losses. But the way I have it in my head is that my losses always outweigh my wins. And I feel like I can't accumulate wins, but I can accumulate losses. Like no matter how many times I lose, or I have an off day, or I have a panic attack, no matter how many times that happens to me, it just continues to add up. Whereas my wins don't. My wins, once I have a loss, if they start to add up, then awesome. But then once I hit a loss, they all disappear for me. It's like I'm restarting again. Or my mind sees it as we have to restart again. So everything that you succeeded in before no longer matters. And I might have said this before, but that's basically how my mind works and what I'm trying to change. And I feel like today I was able to do that. And I just wanted to share that today I feel like I'm not focusing on the negative parts, like the nighttime that I kind of struggled, or the morning that I kind of struggled. I'm focusing on the moments after that where I succeeded, where I got through, where I felt better, where I proceeded to go on with my work day and, had a good couple of laughs, had fun, was entertained others, nurtured relationships that mean a lot to me. So those are my wins for the day. Those wins outweigh my loss in the morning, let's say. Even though it's not technically a loss, I'm just saying that it's a loss in my mind. You may not think so. You may think it's a win, that even though I was feeling that way, that I still insisted on going to work and pushing through instead of staying home and just, wallowing in my self-pity and wallowing in my loss and making that loss a lot bigger. But instead of doing that, I decided to stay and push through, and then I accumulated wins. And the wins matter for today. The wins matter, not the losses. And it's hard for me to admit, it's hard for me to keep that as the focus, the silver lining. It's hard for me to keep that as the silver lining, but it's the truth. It's something that I need to make a habit. Not focusing on the loss, but focusing on the win. Not focusing on the negative, but focusing on the positive. And I'm not doing this as a toxic positivity. I'm doing it as one moment shouldn't ruin your entire day. Because for me, that's most likely always the case. One moment can ruin and has ruined my entire day, and I've allowed it to ruin my entire day. I would not bounce back. I would struggle to bounce back. And even if I did, even if I pushed myself and did bounce back, I would still reflect on the negative or the part of the day that I felt like I had a loss, and then continue to see that day fully as a loss instead of a win. So today is a win. Regardless of how I was feeling earlier or through the night, today is a win for me. And I'm checking it off as a win. I'm not checking it off as a loss. Because in the past, I've done that. And even me like reflecting on the morning, there's a part of me, whether it's my mind or my ego, that wants to say, don't forget that you failed. And I want to say, don't forget that I pushed through it. Can't you see what I ended up doing with what was given to me? That I was given this, but I took it and I ran and I pushed and I got through it to turn that loss into a win. So my day isn't a loss, it is a win. We're not going to reflect back and just highlight that moment, which is what I normally do. We're going to turn it around and highlight the majority of the day, the fact that I got through it, the fact that I made it through, and we're gonna stay on that. We're gonna stay on today was a win. And I want to celebrate that with you guys, regardless of how I feel physically, because I'm not completely high energy or out of my anxious funk, but I'm still considering this a win, and that's very important for me. And if you find yourself in situations where you have the tendency to always focus on the negative or the part of the day that you lost or you weren't doing as great, and you had the tendency, like me, to make it ruin or to allow it to ruin your day, I ask you to just be patient, one, because it could take a long time for you to shift that, because this is like the first time that I've actually been able to or feel able to see my day as a win. And I've been working on this for maybe a year and a half. I've been working on this. And now is the first time that I'm actually finally really seeing it that way. I've had moments before, but today feels different. And I don't know what that means for tomorrow, and I don't know what that means for the rest of the week or next week. But today feels a little bit different. It feels like it's a true win, and that I can keep it in my head as a win and not as a loss. And when I look back at this day, even though I can see what happened in the morning, I'm not going to judge the entire day based on that, because my win for the day is larger than my loss for the day. So I won. It's hard for me to admit. And if this is something that you struggle with also, it isn't easy. It takes patience. Sometimes there's nothing you can actually do. I feel like there's nothing that I actually did intentionally. I just pushed through, and then by pushing through, I decided to choose to see it as a win. And that sounds easy, but it's never been easy for me, because anybody can say that. I've had people say that to me for the last year and a half. Oh, well, you're still progressing though, even though it's taking time, even though you're only getting this much progression, and the final finale isn't here, doesn't mean that you're losing anything. I've had people say it to me the entire time, and I understood it but I couldn't feel it and I couldn't believe it for myself. And that's the most important part, is if you get to a place, or if you can get to a place where you actually believe it yourself, then you're winning. But nobody else can really convince you, because everybody said it and I knew it on some level that it was true, but I didn't actually believe it. And I'm not saying that today I actually believe it, but today I'm taking this day as a win. Tomorrow I could look back at today and look at it as a loss, and it can lose this whole energy of it being a win. I'm not sure. I don't know what tomorrow brings. I'm literally taking this day by day. But right now in this moment, I take it as a win, and I'm sharing that win. Because we should share our wins. And we should also share our losses, even though nothing is truly a loss. But there are moments where we feel lost, and there's moments where we are lost. And there's moments that we do lose, you know? So this is a win. I'm take it as a win. And I'm going to celebrate that with you. Woo! We won. We won a day. We won today. Regardless what they say. We won. We won today. Regardless what they say. Hey. Let's see what else comes out of this. Today we win. Today I hope that you can look at your wins and not your losses, and make it a win day, regardless of the minuscule loss or mistake that you made. Today you are a winner. We're all winners. Well, that's it for me today. It's hot, I'm sweating, so I'm gonna go in. But thanks for watching. See you guys